Finally have a new video game review for you guys, and this time it is not a re-release. Just a game that's been in early access for a year. But you know what? It counts as a new game, so let's talk about it. It is time for a review of the new Supergiant Games game, Hades 2. This has been one of my most anticipated games ever since it was announced at the Game Awards back in 2022, because obviously many of you I'm sure will agree, but the first Hades game was absolutely fantastic. And like I said, this released last year in early access, but I didn't get to play it during the early access period because it was on PC and I only have a Mac, so but I was willing to be patient, and then once I finally heard that it was going to be a Switch and Switch 2 timed exclusive, I knew I had to jump on this one. And honestly, you're lucky I was able to put it down long enough to actually film this review. Much like the first Hades, this game is so addicting. I mean, the gameplay is absolutely adrenaline-inducing, and you do, like any good roguelike or roguelike, get that constant feeling of just one more run, just one more run. The gameplay loop remains just as fresh as it did 5 years ago when the game released in 2020, and the action is as satisfying as ever. Being Supergiant's first sequel, I wouldn't be surprised if some people aren't as crazy about this one because of it not being as revolutionary as the first, but I don't really think it needed to be on a personal level. I already feel like Hades was a game that didn't really need to be improved much, but I think this built on the first one nicely with plenty of polish, and I was really wowed by the sheer variety of resources and abilities here, and experimenting with different builds was awesome. And even when the bosses kicked my head in, I still had a blast fighting them, and I felt a real sense of accomplishment when I finally conquered them. The music is amazing, the visuals are fantastic, the character designs are incredible, much like the first game, prepare for bisexual panic here. And even as someone who's more into gameplay than story in my games, I did enjoy a lot of the character interactions, and I had a good time chatting it up with different characters between runs. Following up on a title as game-changing as Hades was going to be a challenge, especially for a developer like Supergiant who had never made a sequel before, but I think they made this as good as it could get. The wait for it to exit early access felt endless, but I could definitely see why it took so long, and I'm happy to report that the end result is absolutely marvelous. Out of 10, I would absolutely give this game a 10 out of 10. I promise not every game review is going to end with me giving that rating. I just happen to be landing on some good ones right now. I honestly liked it even more than the first game, which is kind of crazy considering how amazing the first game was. Definitely recommend giving this a go if you haven't already. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I hear the game calling my name again, so I'm gonna go back to playing it.